Hello, Scouts, and I'd like to thank you very much for inviting me to be with you today. It's a real honor. Today we are here to talk about Walt Disney and Scouting. Now, the one thing we have to focus on today about Walt Disney is that he was a supporter of Scouting. And if we wonder why that is true, it's because, for one thing, he loved the outdoors, he loved wildlife, and we can really see that in his True Life Adventures, which was the series of nature documentaries that he made. And he sort of invented the nature documentary, something that we can see all the time now on Animal Planet or National Geographic Channel or just about anywhere. But another important thing about Walt is that he was a great supporter of the values that are behind Scouting. He really believed in doing the right thing, helping others, and all the values that are part of what it means to be a Scout. If you've ever seen his movie Johnny Tremain, which is about the war for American independence, he dedicates the film to the youth of the world, in whose spirit and courage rests the hope of eventual freedom for all mankind. The youth of the world, that's you, especially since you're Scouts. One of the ways Walt Disney showed support for Scouting is that he would sometimes have his artists create art that would salute someone that was important in the world of Scouting. He had his artists create this art for Dr. James E. West in 1943, who was the first Chief Scout Executive of the Boy Scouts of America, a position that he held for 32 years, from 1911 to 1943. But Walt also had a lot of fun with Scouting. For example, the Donald Duck cartoon Good Scouts is all about Donald as a Scoutmaster and Huey, Dewey, and Louie as Scouts, having fun with the whole idea of camping and other Scouting activities. And then there's even the Junior Woodchucks, which is kind of a spoof of the Boy Scouts. That was introduced in the comics, but is also seen in DuckTales, both the original series of the 1980s and today's version of DuckTales. And one thing the Junior Woodchucks have is their own guidebook, which is much like your Scouting manual in that it has all kinds of information. This Disney magazine even published a version of the Junior Woodchucks guide. It's called A Treasury of Information You May Never Use. Some of the facts are: seals are born on land and have to be taught to swim. Hummingbirds can fly backwards. The giraffe and the harvest mouse each have 7 neck bones. About 1 million meteors strike the Earth's atmosphere every hour, and the average full-grown hippopotamus weighs 4 tons. All kinds of information like that. But maybe one reason that Walt took on the subject of Scouting is that he was a Scout himself, not for very long, but when he was 13 years old in Kansas City, Missouri, he was in fact a Scout. It's not a very well-known fact, but something he held with high regard, and it gave him a great deal of respect for Scouting. Even though he had to leave Scouting because he worked very hard. He worked for his father. His father had a number of newspaper routes. Walt had to get up extremely early in the morning, deliver a lot of newspapers, and then, of course, still go to school, and then come home and do homework. So it didn't leave much time for Scouting. But of his experience with Scouting, Walt said, and I quote, "It was one of my finest lifelong satisfactions." And in fact, in 1946, Walt was given the Silver Buffalo Award. As I'm sure some of you know, the Silver Buffalo Award is Scouting's highest honor. The award was given to Walt at the 1946 National Meeting of the Boy Scouts of America. Among those also receiving the award that day was Dwight D. Eisenhower, who, as I'm sure you know, went on to become President of the United States. And the Silver Buffalo citation said that Walt had contributed to the joy of youth and to their appreciation of wholesome humor and the elevation of their standards of good taste. Again, Walt's whole mission was excellence in production, telling great stories, but also upholding values that we hold dear in our country, and that Scouts make it their mission to live out in everyday life. Today, Walt's Silver Buffalo Award is in the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco here in California. And if you happen to go to the museum, you can see the award in the database of awards. And if you read what it says in the database, one very interesting fact is reports of the time noted that Walt had been a Boy Scout, but that he had to quit when his family moved to Chicago. In an interview, Walt noted that he had not mentioned being a scout to the selection committee, but that they knew anyway. That's kind of fun. And one interesting thing I can say about the awards database at the Walt Disney Family Museum is that I wrote a lot of the information that is there. If you read about the Silver Buffalo Award and many of the other awards that Walt received, I wrote that information that you're reading in the database. So I hope you'll all get a chance to go there someday. And you can learn more about this fascinating man and former scout. One of the most amazing things Walt did was make an entire movie about scouting called Follow Me Boys, and it was released in 1966. And there haven't been very many movies about scouting. Certainly this was one of the biggest and most important movies that had come out. There had been some others, but they were more minor productions, not that important, but Walt Disney really showcased scouting. The movie was based on a book called God and My Country. It was written by an author who had won the Pulitzer Prize, so it was very important. There wasn't really a storyline to that book. So Walt and his screenwriter and his producer, they came up with the story that you see when you watch the movie. And there were a lot of elements that Walt wanted to add and show in the movie to show how important and how exciting scouting can be. Walt really wanted to focus on small town life because he had grown up in a small town, or had spent 4 of his very important growing up years there in Marceline, Missouri. And the story of Follow Me Boys takes place in Hickory, Illinois. So it kind of reflects Walt's small town roots. Now, I'm not sure if all of you have seen the movie, but here's Walt Disney himself to tell you just a little bit about it.
So let's get on with the business at hand, and that is Follow Me Boys. To us, this is a very special kind of motion picture, and one of which we're very proud. It has a fine cast, and oh yes, you're about to meet a 15-year-old boy for whom I predict a great acting future. His name is Kurt Russell. I hope you enjoy the show, and incidentally, have a handkerchief handy. If you're like me, you're not only going to laugh a lot, but you're going to shed a few happy tears. So thanks for coming. And again, I'm sorry I can't be there with you personally for this occasion, but here now is Follow Me Boys.
The movie stars Fred MacMurray, who was a very, very good actor and a very popular star of the day, and a Disney favorite as well. He stars as Lem Siddons, a man who dedicates himself to scouting and being a scoutmaster. And it's interesting because when he was a boy, Fred MacMurray was a scout himself. He was in Troop 33, which was sponsored by the First Methodist Church in Madison, Wisconsin. It's kind of fun to note, especially for a writer like me, that a writer from Boys Life magazine actually went to the set of Follow Me Boys. Part of it was filmed in the Golden Oak Ranch in Newhall, which Disney owns, and that's about 20 miles from downtown Los Angeles, as well as the Iverson Ranch in Chatsworth, which was the location for many Western films and TV shows. But the day that the Boys Life reporter visited, he spoke with the producer, Winston Hibler, and he saw that some of the men that were making the movie were trying to tie knots. And Mr. Hibler said, I guess one reason we got started on this knot tying kick is that in one comedy scene, Fred's inability to tie a simple sheepshank ruins his alibi and causes him to be taken prisoner in the war games. And Mr. MacMurray had to say, fact is, I played the scene quite convincingly. Since my scouting days in Madison, Wisconsin, I'd really forgotten how to tie a sheepshank. Another fun thing about Follow Me Boys is that some of the boys playing scouts you see in the movie were actual scouts. And some of them were from Explorer Post 25, which was the post on the Walt Disney lot here in Burbank. And they held their meetings every Monday. Gray Johnson, who was the son of a Disney executive, said that Walt Disney needed Boy Scouts. Lots of Boy Scouts for the final scenes of Follow Me Boys. No studio employee with a son was exempt, and of course, who wouldn't want to be in the movies? We spent a chaotic day on the Walt Disney Studios backlot, all marching around a fake city square in front of the fake Bijou movie theater, following Fred McMurray's open convertible as he was heralded by the town as the best Boy Scout leader ever. Sometimes in movies, there's a lot of different titles that are used before the final title is settled on. And as we said, the original book was God and My Country, but the working title for the movie while it was being made was On My Honor. And I know you know where that came from. But why was it finally called Follow Me Boys? Because Walt's favorite songwriters, the Sherman brothers, Richard and Robert, they had written a march song, which you certainly hear in the movie, called Follow Me Boys, and Walt thought that that was a great title. And it's one thing that made the film so popular, something we can look at today and really enjoy and see as a salute to Scouting, and definitely shows that Walt Disney had a great affection for and respect for Scouting. So let's take a listen to that marching song right now.
Guys, I got a marching song for us. Follow me, boys, follow me. Pick 'em up, put 'em down, and follow me.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Well, it's something our whole outfit used to sing over in France. We made it up about this sergeant we had, Sergeant Riley. He was always hollering, follow me.
Well, then sing it, Lamb.
Well, let's see now. How'd the verse go? Sergeant Riley said there's a fight to win. Follow me, boys, follow me. And it won't be done till we all pitch in. Lift your chin with a grin and follow me. Now the chorus. Follow me, boys, follow me.
When you think you're ready, that's the time to lift your feet and follow me. Boys, follow me. Pick 'em up, put 'em down, and follow me. Pick 'em up, put 'em down, pick 'em up.
Follow me, boys, follow me.
When you think you're ready, that's the time to lift your feet and follow me. Boys, follow me. Pick 'em up, put 'em down, and follow me. Pick 'em up, put 'em down, pick 'em up. It's a long, long climb, but we got the will. Follow me, boys, follow me. When we reach the top, then it's all downhill. Till you drop, don't stop and follow me. Follow me, boys, follow me. When you think you're really beat, that's the time to lift your feet and follow me.